Hello, this is Ben Zimmer from Enable Training and Consulting, bringing you the next installment of the LV Mastery Tip Jar. In this installment, from the point of view of the FRC robotics framework, we're going to talk about some methods to simulate your code so that you can do as much testing as possible without using the robot. So let's continue with the previous example. Let's open up our lifter sub VI, where we created the state machine before. What we want to do is basically have a mode where we can replace all of our digital reads with controls on our front panel. And we can replace all of our motor outputs with an indicator on the front panel. Before we do any of that though, let's just create a new global variable. The shortcut for that is just to double click on an existing global variable. We're going to make a new boolean. Just call it simulate mode. By making this a global variable, we can ensure that we can put our entire code into simulate mode if we've taken this approach. So we'll make a duplicate of our existing global, change it to simulate mode. All we really need to do is make a tiny bit more room and put a case structure around our reads. While we're here, just clean up the wires a little bit. And so if simulate mode is true, then we don't want to read these inputs. So we want to change this to the false case so that if simulate mode is false, then we're doing actual hardware reads. If simulate mode is true, then we're going to read from controls on our front panel. So let's make those controls now. So here is our lower limit switch, our upper limit switch, and our ball sensor. And we have one output as well, so we're going to make a numeric meter, which is going to be our output speed. We know that range is between -1 and +1. So now we just need to wire these Boolean inputs up. So our lower limit switch, our ball sensor, and our upper limit switch all go inside the case structure. Just line them up so they look okay and hook them up. So essentially when our simulate mode is true, instead of reading from the hardware, the values from these three Boolean controls will be wired in to our shift register. So let's take a copy of this simulate mode right to our case structure. All we need to do now is case out all of our motor set speeds. Put case structures around every one we find. And usually the act of doing this means you have to make a bit more room in your block diagram in order to get everything to fit properly, which often means having to clean up the positioning of wires a little bit. But again, if simulate is false, we're going to write to the motor. But if simulate is true, we're going to write directly to our output speed indicator. Next, we're going to create a local variable of this. Just put it down to the side here. So again, if simulate is true, it's not going to write to the motor, it's going to write to the indicator on the front panel. So let's just repeat this through all of the other cases. So we select, we make the case false, we wire it to our simulate input, and we hook up our output speed. And we just repeat through all the different cases.